hello once again, everybody. And on behalf of Athletic Director Mac Banks and our senior head coach Tom Skula, I'm John Turner. I'll be along with Keith Cook this afternoon for game number 2 of the day. But game number 4 of the 2023 North Carolina versus South Carolina Challenge here, American Region Baseball, as the Palmetto State battles the Tar Heel States for supremacy of the two Carolinas as we continue to get everything set up here. Field in good condition, a little bit dry, but we were able to put a little extra water on it, so it's good to go. Queen City comes out on their Carolina tops. Florence will change tops from all white. Now they will go with the maroon tops with the white pants as the Mustangs will take on post 1. North Carolina will be the road team throughout this tournament. They'll be in the third base dugout exclusively. South Carolina down the first base line in the quote-unquote home dugout. As South Carolina so far in the challenge 3-0 over North Carolina. Florence is 2-0 in this tournament after a 15-4 win yesterday over Charitable 100. And then in the nightcap, Mill defeated Charitable 8-3. And then first game this morning. That bled into this afternoon. Final score was Florence 11. And Davidson County host 8 Hogs. Final score was 11-1. So it looks like Florence will keep the same pinstripe pants on, put on garnet tops, black letters, and numbers outlined white. Black and white stripes, garnet hat. One logo on the front of the caps. So it's one on the back of the hats. Coach Derek Carter's team is trying to go 3-0 in the challenge here in 2023 here high school. So we're going to have the sportsmanship and the national anthem and play ball. And put y'all aside for a moment and come back to you. You were watching and listening to the 2023 American South Carolina versus Carolina Challenge. Here at high school here in Fort Mill, South Carolina. We are broadcasting network. Play ball indeed. Keith, you good on the lineups, my friend? You good? You need them back? You sure? All right. He says he's okay. We didn't get the lineup cards till literally right before Keith hit the mic, so we're still scrambling and trying to fill in our scorebook. So please be patient with us as we work our way through this first inning of play. Queen City Mustangs and the Navy Blue, good Lord, Carolina Blue. Only a colorblind person would have seen that color. Anyway, moving on. Florence is in the garnet tops, white pants. And give you the defense first for Florence, post 1. Here's how they line up. On the mound is number 7, Tanner Hall. The catcher for game number 2 of the day, game number 3 for Florence in the tournament, will be number 11, Tucker Bass. The third baseman will be Nick Foster. The shortstop is Colin Minshew. Second baseman, Jackson Moore. The first baseman will be Zach Hunt. Your outfield from left to right for Florence will be Brody Cook, Jamarcus Williams, the speed burner in center, and Josh Williams in right field for head coach Derek Urquhart, Rhodes Dickinson, Zay Paul, Coach Vidawa, and Coach Oakley, the assistants for Derek Urquhart. And the first three, I wish it was free. The first 3 batters, as I still continue to get my life together, it's been a 4-decade process trying to get myself together. Leading it off will be Daniel Shuda, then it'll be Trig Browning, and then Tyler Nee for the Mustangs, whose hashtag is City Boys. The pride of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City, which is just above the state line, and the old North State, Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about with the flight of a crow from where we're sitting right now, about 5 miles to the north up I-77. And the first batter that Tanner Hall will face will be Daniel Shuda, and we're ready for baseball here in game number 4 of this 2023 Carolina Challenge. Some of the best from North Carolina, some of the best from South Carolina. First pitch of the ball game, right over the outside corner with a strike. 1:29 p.m. as per usual in these tournaments. We are a wee bit behind. 82 degrees. Pitch swung on and fouled out of play, and very quickly 0-2 to Daniel Shuda, the center fielder for the Mustangs. Heath McKay, Wade Leach, B.J. Coggins, Donovan Hinkle, Eli Ellington, coaches for QC.
Say those fast 3 times.
No, thank you. I've already done enough damage for one day. That pitch is swung on and missed. And the first strikeout victim of the day for Tanner Hall, 1 up and 1 down for Trig Browning. Just a broadcasting note, the next game on the docket is game 3 of the day. There will not be a stream or broadcast for it. So apologies in advance for the inconvenience. Pitch outside for ball 1. Mainly because Keith and I have been burning the candle at both ends, and we kind of need a break before the nightcap, which involves Fort Mill, which is actually who we work for. So there you go.
So there's that.
There is that. We're not Hayden. We aren't. We promise. That pitch called a strike.
And unfortunately, maybe fortunately for the listeners out there, I will have to retreat a little bit in the middle of this game to tend to another duty real fast, but we'll be right back.
That pitch is swung on, and it's a seeing eye single through the hole right side. Just a little trickler, exit velo of about 70 off the bat of Trig Browning, but it'll look like a line drive in the scorebook. First base hit of the day for the Mustangs, a 1-out base runner for Tyler Nee.
In Florence, in games 1 and 2 that they've played, they've been used to the quick 1, 2, 3 innings, not this time around.
Yeah, this is a different kettle of fish. The Mustangs of Queen City. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. It's just when you look at these guys for the Mustangs, they've got some stocky young men in that third base dugout. There's a throw over to first. And, of course, as we've already noted, Florence is a bunch of football players playing a beautiful game of baseball.
Well, I did notice during the lineups that Queen City does have some size. And at first, just watching them warm up, I thought, well, these guys are a lot smaller than Florence in comparison, but not the case.
That pitch is swung on. It's going to be roped into deep left field, and the ball is going to bang off the middle of the fence, and it gets away from the left fielder, Brody Cook, coming all the way around from third. The relay throw, not in time, and the runner tries to go to third, and he will be out. It'll go as an RBI double off of the bat of Tyler Nee. The putout will go 7-2 to 5. Queen City goes up 1-0, but an out was recorded, so nobody on, 2 outs for the cleanup hitter, Cam Miller. And for the first time in this challenge, Florence finds themselves down. No. I was talking to some of the Florence fans, and really the team that kind of stuck it to them was Conway. That ball swung on and popped up a mile high, but I think it will reach the seated area first base side, and it will. Nice catch over there by a fan. And this will be, and that's a great point. And that pitch is high and inside. And this will be the third game for Florence in 18 hours. The pitch is swung on and fouled out of play. So then you start talking about the substitution pattern that Coach Derek Urquhart employed in those first 2 games. And here's where it pays dividends, because everybody's gotten a chance to play, and I don't think anybody's really burnt to a crisp, so to speak. 2-2, slider low and outside. That'll run it full. Oh, he wants to play just like everybody else. He's a competitor. That pitch fouled off right at home plate. Another 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Dropped by the catcher. He'll apply the tag, and that will retire the side. But a run on 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on. We head to the bottom of the first inning. Queen City 1 and Florence nothing. You fine folks are watching and listening to the 2023 American Legion South Carolina, North Carolina Challenge here on the We Are Fort Mill Broadcasting Network. Headed to the bottom of inning number 1 here in beautiful Fort Mill, South Carolina, home of the Fort Mill Yellow Jackets and Fort Mill Post 43 seniors. The Fort Mill Post 43 juniors play over at Catawba Ridge. 1-4. It'll be Brody Cook, who has been the leadoff man all along for the boys from the Palmetto State and the PD region of South Carolina. The 1-0 is in there for a strike. And we were talking about Bucky's in the previous game, and I had to think about what it is that my daughter Claire likes to eat, and I think they're called, is it beaver nuts
Beaver chips.
or something like that? It's basically corn pops,
Yeah,
essentially what
yeah,
it is.
yep. Can be misconstrued, of course.
Pitch swung on and missed, had a home run cut and comes up empty.
Everything at Bucky's is good. The brisket sandwich, the pulled pork sandwich, and that's fighting words for a lot of people over here in the upstate of South Carolina as well as in eastern, western North Carolina.
Pitch swung on and fouled out of play. Yeah, you want to get an argument started in this part of the world, you can talk about politics, religion, and whose barbecue is better. All three of them can end up in a brawl. You think I'm kidding?
That is no joke, but Florence has got that market cornered at the moment with Bucky's.
Vinegar versus mustard versus ketchup. That pitch is swung on and roped in the deep left field. The left fielder near the wall will run it down and make the catch.
And the frightening thing is that it sounded like he hit it off the end of the bat, and he still got it that far out there in the outfield.
He did. One up and one down for Jackson Moore.
He's been sixth the entire time, just like how Nick Foster's been number two. So they're adding a digit to each side here. I heard there was no math on this broadcast, so
I wish there was no math, period. That pitch is swung on and roped down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair, but it will just cut foul at the last possible moment. 1-0 your score. Mustangs 1-0 over Florence, South Carolina. But if you think that's the only run going to be scored in this contest by either of these teams, you would be sadly mistaken. That's no disrespect to the pitchers. It's just these teams are just potent offensively.
or as they say, you might want to take your lips off the exhaust pipe.
I'm thinking of Bill Engvall when I hear that joke. Pitch, fastball stays high. 3 balls and a strike to Jackson Moore. Nobody on, 1 out.
And we're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
That's played, dude. 3-1. Hacking away is Moore, and he will foul that one out of play. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So
Yeah, he went
did
around.
he go around? He did. I think he tried to check his swing, but an awkward swing there. You don't see that very often for Jackson Moore. That'll be the first strikeout of the day for the pitcher for Queen City,
How
which
about him
is
for
Young.
Florence? The designated hitter number 16, Shamar Symes.
And to say that Shamar Symes has expressed himself in this tournament would be putting it politely.
What a fantastic hitter we've watched over the last couple of days in Symes, and he is just old school, and I love every minute of it. Fooled by a breaking ball there, but he got a hack around.
Pitch swung on and a chopper out to the shortstop. You got to hurry. Throw across the diamond. Got him by a step. And for one of the few times in this tournament, Florence goes 1-2-3, and they're half of inning number 1. We played one full here at Fort Mill High School in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Your score, Queen City 1, Florence nothing. You find folks are watching and listening to the 2023 American Legion North Carolina versus South Carolina Challenge on the We Are Fort Mill Broadcasting Network. We head to the second inning. Queen City up to bat with a 1-0 lead. And due up here will be Carson Cabbage, Aiden Christmas, and Brock Fowler, which is 5, 6, and 7 in the order, and a daddy hack from Carson Cabbage. Foul tipped into the glove of the catcher, Tucker Bass. Working quickly is Hall, and that pitch just swung on and missed. And just like that, it's 0-2. Pitch swung on and roped into deep left field. The left fielder on his horse. He's going to watch it sail over his head and bang off the wall. Coming around first on his way to second. The throw is not in time. A leadoff double off the bat of Carson Cabbage, and it almost left the yard.
And again, another one where it sounded like it kind of went off the handle a little bit, and Cabbage just muscled that thing out there to the wall.
So he will shed the shin guard and the elbow guard and all the stuff that guys wear today. There'll be a courtesy runner. And the courtesy runner is Jacob Vanderloo. Our fearless athletic director, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mac Banks in the house. Thank you, Mac. You are a scholar and a gentleman. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. I think the Meatloaf song is 2 out of 3, but again, that's just more math. Thank you. That pitch swung on and sliced out of play, foul. Third base hit already for the Mustangs. We're only in the top of the second. Not a cloud in the sky. 83 degrees. Breaking ball right off the table, and I'm going to guess it was a little too far inside to Aiden Christmas.
And I'm wondering, and I don't know, I'm just speculating if he's the son of Charlotte Catholic Athletic Director Kevin Christmas.
I was thinking the same thing. That ball is swung on and foul tipped into the glove of the catcher Bass, and it's ball and 2 strikes. I think he is. And if
Kevin's
he's not the son, he's got to be like a nephew or something.
Yep. Known Kevin a long time.
Pitch swung on and fouled out of play right side. We'll do it again.
I coached JV baseball at Charlotte Catholic for 3 years when Christmas was coming up to be the athletic director. And we played, Nation Forward played at Catholic during a scrimmage this year, and he was very accommodating for the broadcast.
That pitch swung on and missed. That looked like something off speed and very high and out of the zone above the hands. Swung on and missed. That is the 3rd strikeout of the game for Tanner Hall. 1 down for Brock Fowler. That pitch outside the zone. And it's number 10 on the scorecard, but I think there's not a number 18 listed on the card, so I'm assuming it's supposed to have been an 8, not a 0. That pitch in the dirt. It's going to bounce away from Bass, and the runner will move up 90 feet. So a wild pitch out of the hand of Tanner Hall will move Cabbage up to third base with only 1 down and a 1-0 count to Fowler. The 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed. Fowler coming out of his shoes. It's 2 balls and a strike. Sorry about all the racket. Yeah, sorry about all the racket going on. I had to adjust my headset. I got a little sweaty. No, I got a lot sweaty when I went down to get the lineup cards and everything, and it's just bleeding all over my headset. That pitch just swung on, takes a bite out of the catcher on its way to the backstop. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And it's just it's a whiny, complainy kind of thing, but I don't like being sweaty and having a headset. These leather pads on these headsets, man, they just stick to your face. It's just so annoying. I'm not sure I understand. Of course you don't.
Siri never understands.
Nobody understands me. Pitch, fastball high and inside.
And if anybody could understand us, it would certainly be Siri, because I know our wives don't understand us ever.
Yeah, well, neither do our daughters. Pitch swung on and a slow ground ball, and then the second baseman's going to dive, stop it, throw to first, got him. What a play. Both teams got what they wanted. Jackson Moore with a gorgeous play. That'll take care of Fowler, but it'll be an RBI ground out, so a productive out. And the Mustangs have doubled their lead. It's 2-0.
And that was a nice play to his right by Moore. I thought it might scoot out into the outfield.
That pitch is swung on and foul back to the screen. When it first came off the bat, I thought the same thing. But then I saw the way that Moore attacked that baseball, and I thought to myself, you know what? He's going to die for this, and he's going to at least knock it down. And in the art of fairness, Mr. Fowler not the fleetest of foot, so you knew there could be a play. And Moore not giving up on the play or taking anything for granted records the out. So nobody on, 2 outs. The pitch is swung on and fouled out of play right side. And that'll run the count to a ball and 2 strikes to Jake Reichert.
He made a very strong throw, having to come across his body like that, moving to his right.
Yes, sir. He made that play look a lot easier than it really is. Pitch swung on and a hard ground ball deep in the hole at short. Backhand, and it will be Minshew. Throw across in time, and that'll retire the side. But more damage done by the Queen City Mustangs. A run on a hit. No errors, nobody left. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Mustangs 2, Florence nothing.
He fouls that one away. 0-1 the count.
Zach Hunt is on the hunt for a base hit. 0-1, swung on, and there it is. Another hard hit ball off the bat of Zach Hunt, and finally, Zach finds a hole. He had been royally frustrated by just slinging balls all over this yard, but hitting them right at guys or people making great plays defensively. But there it is. First base hit of the day for Florence. Leadoff man aboard for Nick Foster. That pitch outside the zone. As a matter of fact, it had Foster kind of skip out of the way of that.
It's some nighttime dancing with the Waltons.
I can't. Oh, that pitch comes inside and hits him. I think this is the third straight game that a Florence player has been plunked. I know Jamarcus Williams, wore one in the first game today. Coach Derek Urquhart goes through the signs in the third base coach's box.
Foster looks like he's smarting down there. Umpire calls time and now allows play to begin again.
There is a courtesy runner at first base for Florence, trying to catch the number of the young man. And it's number 25 for Florence. And I'm looking down at the lineup card that Coach Urquhart gave us. I don't see a 25. I could make an assumption. Oh, it's Nick Foster. I beg your pardon. I thought it was a courtesy runner, but it was just Foster taking off his equipment. I apologize. You're right. Sorry about that. Oh, I could have sworn I saw another Garnet jersey trade places with him, but I think it was just another player coming to get his gear. I put a whole lot of work into that and came up with zip. No balls and a strike for the center fielder, Williams. He's going to square around a bunt. That's a slider way outside, and that's a great job by the catcher, Cabbage, to save 90 feet.
And none of these Florence players are above bunting. That's something you like to see, that all of them will attempt to bunt if that's what Coach Urquhart wants them to do. Williams may square the bunt again here.
Ball is bunted. It's going to be fielded by the first baseman. Throw to first, and the runner on the way by bangs it out of the glove of the second baseman, coming home to score to tie, coming home with their first run of the game, I should say, for Florence, is Zach Hunt. And that bunt, you got to put that down as something. It was going to be a sacrifice bunt, but it worked out perfectly for Florence, as runners now first and second, nobody out, and they got their first run of the game. Williams laid down a beautiful bunt, and the first baseman gloved it. The second baseman did a great job. He was standing right at the bag, but Williams on his way by, and then that slider gets away from the catcher all the way to the backstop. Both runners will move up 90 feet. Foster stands at third. Williams now at second. And Colin Minshew is now one swing of the War Club away from giving Florence the lead.
And that bunt was especially good by Williams because he has speed down the line, so that made it difficult to make that play.
And when the throw got to Hawkins, runner got there at the same time. That pitch off the corner. Williams did nothing wrong. I don't want to paint that picture at all. He did nothing wrong. You're taught to go through the bag. He did. Just the runner and the ball and the glove was all there in the same space, and physics. Something's got to change. The 2-0, check the swing. 3 balls and no strikes. Now, if he had swung an arm or something like that and tried to make something out of what wasn't there, that's one thing, but he didn't. He just runs through the bag, and it just, if anything, the throw has got to come inside the bag. It can't go right on top of it. Pitch called a strike on the inside corner.
Especially where the angle of the ball was, where the pitcher gloved it. He had no choice but to go inside, but it kind of tripped it off to the outside.
Yes. So Young now out of the stretch. Corner infielders coming in. The pitch is swung on and hit out of play, foul over our heads. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the bottom of inning number 2. It's 2-1 Queen City.
And here's Florence doing what Florence does. They get a pile of runners on with nobody out. Just continue to apply the pressure on the defense.
And they continue to choke up on the bat, spread out in the box. Pitch from Young. This one is swung on and fisted foul right side, and it'll stay 3-2. And now the home plate umpire needs more baseballs. And he will be replenished by the on-deck circle. That's Josh Williams. Who said chivalry is dead? Another payoff pitch due here by Young. Here it comes. High and inside, and it hit him.
Or actually, it looks like it
It
hit
looks
his
like a
bat.
foul ball. Sorry. I thought it hit him. It actually hit his bat and knocked it out of his right hand. I thought it hit him, and that's why he kind of let go of the bat, but it hit the bat.
And he's a little bit disgusted with himself, which I understand.
Another payoff pitch. Nowhere near ball four. Great at bat from Minshew. So now the bases are loaded. Nobody out for Josh Williams. Garnet jerseys as far as the eye can see. Ducks on the pond for post one. And the powerful Josh Williams in that left-handed batter's box, slightly open stance. Bit of a crouch. Pitch from Young, nowhere near. Some pitchers like to go back to the windup with the sacks full, but he's out of the stretch.
Young looks like he's kind of aiming the ball a little bit at this point, just trying to get something into the strike zone, and it seems to be flying outside the box.
Pitch from Young, swung on and missed.
And the difference between that pitch and the first pitch was that he came all the way through with his delivery. He looked like he actually meant it when he threw that ball down. And as a result, a swing and a miss by Williams.
The 1-1. Yes, he did. Williams tried to check his swing, but I won't get into the technicalities of umpiring, but the bat cleared that front hip. I could have a 30-minute discussion with you on a podcast about a check swing if you want. A pitch outside the zone. Is it because I know stuff? No. I volunteered for the CAA baseball championships in Charleston this year, and my primary job, among other things, was to handle the umpires. And I am a inquisitive soul, so I picked their brain consistently about stuff. And that pitch outside the zone, that'll load up at 3-2. And one of the things was a check swing and what do umpires look for. It's amazing how much you can learn. But what I've learned in my 48 years is not necessarily the words you're using, but how you say it and how you ask the question. Payoff pitch, call strike 3. Williams knew it. He looked at the umpire like, please don't ring that up, but he did. Huge strikeout for Young. And that is the second strikeout for Young, but the first one looking, one down for the 9-hole hitter, which is the catcher Tucker Bass.
And you're completely right about how you talk to umpires, and we've learned that as coaches and just as general human beings and being around the game a lot.
That pitch is swung on and a ground ball to the third baseman. They'll go home to 1 and the first for 2. Just your customary 5-2-3 double play happens all the time.
All the time.
That will retire the side. But Florence picks up a run. They do it on 2 hits. There were no errors, and there were 2 runners left on. We head to the third inning. Queen City 2 and Florence 1. We head to the third inning. 2-1, Queen City is your score here in the second game of the day. But the fourth game, this 2023 American Legion South Carolina versus North Carolina Challenge. And the leadoff batter here for the Mustangs is the 9-hole hitter, Ryan Hawkins. Then Shuda, and then Browning. And the pitcher, Tanner Hall, exclusively out of the stretch. And the 2-0 stays high very quickly, 3-0 the count. No action in either bullpen. We're only on the top of the third. Pitch clips the outside corner for a strike.
And not to knock on Hawkins' size, I'm certainly not doing that, but he's not as tall as most of the Queen City batters, so the pitcher, Hall, may be having a little difficulty locating his strike zone.
The pitch swung on and popped up over near the first base dugout, and it will actually bang inside the dugout. And I'll say this. I think Ryan Hawkins is normal sized. He's just surrounded by giants. His own teammates in Florence. I think he's a normal sized guy for his age.
Mm-hmm.
He's just surrounded by linebackers and defensive ends, and that's not his fault. He's the normal one.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. Swung on and fouled back to the screen. It's 3-2. And I'll tell you who his mannerisms reminds me of. Lenny Dykstra.
Old nails.
And the pitch swung on and fisted, foul.
We saw a guy in the square up in Urbana last weekend that was walking, sporting a Lenny Dykstra jersey, and it was a schmedium on him, but he was a big man anyway.
A schmedium. Payout pitch swung on and fouled back. And just like Lenny Dykstra, it's Hawkins fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch. And we're not talking about the Lenny Dykstra after baseball. We're talking about while he was in baseball. That pitch swung on and fouled out of play. Then the next pitch will be the 8th of the at-bat. Leadoff man here in the top of inning number 3. 2-1 is your score. Mustangs with the lead.
And Dykstra was one of those guys that you loved to hate him if you were playing against him, but if he was on your team, you were all behind that guy.
I think the thing he struggled with the most was keeping tobacco in his mouth. That was the pitch swung on and fouled out of play. The first 8 were so good. Let's do number 9. But if you're Coach Urquhart, now Tanner Hall has had to throw at least 9 pitches. That pitch in the zone, ball 4. What an at-bat for Hawkins. Wow. 9 pitch at-bat. He earns the free pass. So
what a great at-bat, and that's what you want out of your 9-hole guy.
Yeah, he ran up the pitch count, and he got a free 90. So here's Shuda. He struck out to lead off the ball game. That pitch is in the dirt. Nice stop by Tucker Bass. He closed the 5-hole. He went butterfly and then closed it like a hockey goalie. Pitch, fastball high and inside. And now it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Once again, with compliments to the chefs downstairs, the American Legion volunteers are providing us with some lunchtime goodies. Much appreciated.
And service with a smile. Outstanding. We're very appreciative. Thank you very much. That pitch is swung on. And a jam job. It's a worm burner to short. They'll go to second for 1. That's all they'll have. That'll go as a fielder's choice. It'll go 6-4 on the put out at second. That'll retire Hawkins. Shuda will take over at first base. And that'll bring up Trig Browning. And that's going to bring a visit to the mound.
And we don't have the game changer up here, I don't believe, but he's got to be up there in pitches already here in the third inning. And Coach Urquhart, he's got to think about next week as well.
He does. And the pitch count has been running up on the starter, Tanner Hall.
just 9 pitches alone to Ryan Hawkins is
And you go back to the first inning, and he did have 2 strikeouts, which is good. But in order to get the strikeouts, you have to throw a lot of pitches. And he gave up the double and the single, and then he gave up another double, had a strikeout. So he's throwing a lot of pitches. And we're 1 out into the third inning.
there's
And
some activity down in the Florence bullpen right now.
Coach Fito was not going to tolerate free passes. He and I had a conversation last night when Florence got to the ballpark, and he was one of the first coaches that I got to see and picked his brain a little bit. Pitch, that one's in the dirt. And he said something I found pretty interesting. He said walks happen in baseball, but if you're trying to be around the zone and you're throwing at a guy and you're really trying to get him out, that's one thing. But if it's poor mechanics and you're just sort of like, you're not
Going through the
bulldogging it,
motions.
that's a different kettle of fish. The 1-0, that stays high the entire time. 2-0 is the count.
And we talked about that juniors pitcher for Kershaw that had to be a mistake on Game Changer through 159 pitches.
It has to be.
He
Pitch
had-
swung on and missed.
If that's actually the case, he had 14 walks, and that'll drive a coach crazy.
Oh, that's
And they must have had no more arms if that was the case.
well.
But has to be a mistake in the bookkeeping part of it.
I think whoever was running Game Changer just didn't make the substitution. If you throw 159 pitches in the game today, especially at the junior level, somebody's getting a phone call. And they got the runner picked off at first. They got him leaning the wrong way. They got him in a pickle, and he'll be caught stealing. Had Shuda just leaning the wrong way. Nice move by Tanner Hall. That'll be out number 2. The bases are clear. It's 2 balls and a strike to Browning.
In all fairness, that game was 16-15, won by Lancaster Post 31.
Breaking ball right in the front door. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And that's who Fort Mill has next week is Lancaster Post 31.
Pitch swung on and missed. So what started out as a little inconspicuous turns out to be nothing but a 1-2-3 inning for Tanner Hall. No runs, no hits, no errors, and in the end, nobody left. We head to the bottom of the third inning. Queen City 2, Florence 1. Top of the order, and Brody Cook. So it'll be Cook, Moore, and Symes. Beg pardon, almost said Sims. Pitch all the way to the backstop, just a bit outside. Brody sent one screaming out to left field. Back in the bottom of the first, but the ball was tracked down by Trig Browning. Pitch, a little bit low, caught the plate, but outside the zone. 2-0 to Brody Cook. Florence trying to tie the game, take the lead over the Mustangs. #City Boys. The pitch swung on, and it bounces over the glove of the first baseman in the right field for a base hit.
That was a
That
sharply
ball,
hit ball.
it was. It was a one hopper, and then it took that second hop, and when it did, carried over the glove of the first baseman into right field to give Brody Cook his first base hit of the day, leadoff man aboard. Now it's up to Jackson Moore, who's 0 for 1, struck out back in the first inning. The American flag and the state flag of South Carolina completely limp out in center field. That pitch, fastball, way outside. Pitcher Jake Young taps his chest, saying, "My bad."
Cabbage, that thing snow coned in his catcher's mitt there on the outside.
Better to be lucky than good sometimes. Pitch, that one's outside the zone. And now Jake Young flirting with fire. He's falling behind the first two hitters for Florence.
There'll be some action in the bullpen for Coin City.
The action that was in the bullpen for Florence is no more. The 2-0 fastball high and outside. And now, one pitch away from putting the tying run out at second base. And nobody out. 3-0, outside corner at the knees. Appreciate y'all tuning in today, wherever you may be across the fruited plains. Really appreciate your support of American Legion Baseball, both in the state of South Carolina and North Carolina. Pitch, fastball outside corner above the knees. And now Jake Young battles back to load it up. It's 3-2. Coach Urquhart in the third base coach's box points at his head with both hands, telling his base runner to think. Pitch right down Tom Hall Street, but low. Good eye, ball 4.
Yeah, that had to be a good eye because that ball looked pretty good from here.
It did. It was right down the heart of the plate, but it did look a little bit low. And here comes Symes. And that's going to bring a visit to the mound. Coach from Queen City.
It's just a kind of getting my guy a little bit loose right now, as far as I can tell. Doesn't seem like he's going to try and pull the plug yet.
Thus the slow walk to the mound.
Yep.
Yeah. The human rain delay, as it were.
That's right.
Shamar Symes is ready to go. Visit to the mound is over. Back to baseball.
He scratches in his tic-tac-toe board on the batting circle and stands on the plate.
The lime green cleats of Symes right on top of the plate, but somehow gets those hands in. The pitch, breaking ball, right down Tom Hall Street at the knees. Shamar ground out to short to end the first. Pitch from Jake Young, swung on up out back to the screen.
That was a breaking pitch that was going away from Symes, and he somehow was able to get that bat on the ball. But quickly in the hole, 0-2.
The youngster warming up in the Queen City bullpen is wearing number 13. That's Maddox Cabbage. No balls and 2 strikes to Symes. The pitch swung on and a slow tapper to the shortstop. Got to hurry. Goes to second for 1. Relay to first. Dug out by the first baseman. No, he dropped it. He tried to glove it on the short hop. You can't assume the double play, so no error will be charged. It'll go as a 6-4 fielder's choice. That'll put runners at the corners, 1 down for the cleanup hitter, Zach Hunt, who after stinging the ball for 2 days He is.
My apologies.
Hey, no worries.
The TH is
The-
Symes.
The most offended person in the ballpark is going to be his mama.
Yeah.
And if she marches up here, you're on your own, bud.
That's it. There's no place to hide up here.
I'll stand up for you against anybody else but mama. The pitch in the dirt. Runner's going to try to move to second, and Symes will boogie on in. Call that a wild pitch. That'll take the double play out of order. Now runners at second and third, and only one out.
Hunt tried to check his swing, but ended up going around.
So the umpire did say he broke the plane, so 0-1 count.
The corners are in on the infield.
Pitch, breaking ball, right down high 95. And it's 0-2.
Right
Actually-
down the PD River.
Yeah, actually it's QC on the mound, so right down Wilkinson Boulevard. If you know anything about the QC, that's the old main drag. The 0-2 swung on a foul back to the screen. Matter of fact, I think, if I could be wrong on this, but I think the very first Bojangles back in 1977 was Wilkinson Boulevard in Charlotte.
That could be right. It was certainly in West Charlotte. I just can't remember exactly where, but yeah, Wilkinson sounds right.
The very first Bojangles, or as my daughter affectionately calls it, Bohongales.
Bahonglas, yep. That's what it's called in my household as well.
They just built a new one here in the Milltown. Pitch, that one stays high, 1-2. It's over by the Love's Truck Plaza, which is exit 83 off I-77. Somehow they squeezed it in right on the corner
Right
of a
by
roundabout.
Sunbelt.
Sorry?
On the roundabout.
Oh, right, right
Oh,
by the
wow.
roundabout, yeah. Where that house used to be, they bulldozed the house and built
Wow.
a Bojangles.
That is squeezing it in there.
Pitch swung on in a slow tapper third base side, but it will take a left turn and go foul.
My daughter's granddaughter lived over there off that first right off the traffic circle there. You go back in there, and so I'm surprised that they had enough room to put a Bojangles in that little space.
They did. You have to, well, there's a do not enter sign. You're not supposed to be able to turn left off of Sutton Road to turn into it, but I've seen people do it.
Of course.
You're supposed to go around the circle and go up,
Roundabout.
look around the bend, fastball high and inside. Sweet chin music to Zach Hunt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Zach.
Reminds me a little bit of Scott Young for Fort Mill Post 43, about the same build, and they wear the same number.
Lakeview. Youngster. Powerful young man. Right on top of the dish. 2-2. Swung on and a rifle shot into right field. Nobody's going to catch up to this one. The right fielder battles the sun and bangs into the wall right as the ball does. Coming home to score the tying run for Florence will be Brody Cook. And we got a brand new ball game as Symes stands at third. Give an RBI double to Zach Hunt, his second base knock of the day. And we're tied at 2. And that's going to bring a visit to the mound, and that's going to be the day for Mr. Young. So coach will make the long, slow walk to the mound, and he'll take the ball.
And despite
Young.
the success, you got to figure Hunt's still a little bit miffed because that ball just about got out of here, but they'll take the double and the RBI.
And that's the third player already today to literally bang into the fence out there. And you can actually see where they banged into the fence. If you look closely on YouTube, it's in right center, more to dead right, and then right below the scoreboard, you can see where the windscreen has been they probably had some zip ties that busted, came out of it. It's why it looks all not manicured. So the new pitcher for Queen City will be number 13, Maddox Cabbage. So tied at 2 between Florence, post 1 from South Carolina, and the Queen City Mustangs out of North Carolina. South Carolina so far leads the challenge 3-0. Florence defeated Cherryville yesterday afternoon 15-4. That game was over in 5 innings. And then in the nightcap, Fort Mill defeated Cherryville 8-3. And then earlier this morning, Florence 10-run Davidson County. And I'll say this, that game was close for a little while. And then Florence started to turn the screw. And then in the 6th inning, walked it off, literally walked it off. It was a walk-off walk. And I think it was Williams who drew the walk, matter of fact.
So.
And it was 11-1 the final. So Florence has put up a lot of crooked numbers, which was honestly the expectation coming in. If you saw their run differential coming into the day's game, it pretty much spoke for itself.
And so far, they've only given up 7 runs across these 3 games they've played. So defensively and pitching-wise, they've done quite well.
Yes. And that's what Coach Derek Urquhart's team has basically built their reputation on here in 2023 is just that. Put up a lot of crooked numbers and then let that pitching staff, which is pretty good, go to work. So Jake Young pitched well against a very potent offense. He did get hit hard, but he did strike out a couple. He only issued 2 walks. He got the big double play that ended the 2nd inning. So he'll get credited with 2 1/3 innings. You can't close the book on him because Symes at 3rd and Hunt at 2nd are his responsibility. And the first pitch to Nick Fowler is, or beg your pardon, Nick Foster. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I knew it was wrong. Pitch, that one in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes. To the third baseman for Florence, he got hit by a pitch back in the 2nd. Pitch from Cabbage. Something off speed and outside the zone. And just like that, 3 balls and no strikes. To Nick Foster, we're tied at 2. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Runners at 2nd and 3rd, 1 down. And the pitch inside corner, just off the corner. Foster held on for just a beat to make sure it was outside the zone. So the bases are loaded for Jamarcus Williams. 3rd walk issued by Queen City pitching, the 1st issued by Cabbage. So Symes stands at 3rd. Hunt out at 2nd. Foster at 1st. Jamarcus is 1 for 1 today. Single with an RBI. Brought in Hunt. Comes inside and hits him. For the 2nd time in this game, we're only in the 3rd, he gets hit by a pitch. Or no, sorry. Foster got hit by the pitch, so Williams wears one. But didn't he wear one in the last game? He did. He's the young man who took it off the batting helmet.
He did.
And then he fouled a ball off his foot.
He had a rough game last game.
So he gets hit by a pitch. So somebody get that young man some more Advil or Tylenol. Bless his heart. That's a painful way to earn an RBI. And that pitch is swung on just a little Ric Flair out of the left field. Coming home to score is Hunt. Goes station to station for Florence and post 1. Now makes it 4-2. And the line continues to move for Josh Williams.
And this is exactly where they're dangerous. Less than 2 outs, and they just start putting runners aboard and scoring at will. Florence starting to flex that muscle now.
Breaking ball right on the outside corner, called a strike to Josh. And the thing about it was that ball was not hit particularly hard, but in a perfect spot. Fastball stays high.
And because it was shallow, he was able to make the play and get it in before they had an opportunity to score a second run on that single.
Bases full of garnet jerseys. Pitch just off the corner. And for some reason, it just dawned on me. I'm looking out at the playing surface, and the two, you hate to call them main schools from the two states, this is their colors. Pitch from Cabbage, swung on a missed. You've got the Carolina blue for the North Carolina Tar Heels, and there you got the garnet of the South Carolina Gamecocks.
And just like earlier in Charlotte, the Gamecocks have control of this game.
Big deep breath from Cabbage. Breaking ball swung on and missed its balance to the screen by Josh Williams. Josh, a stocky young man, very, very well built. His biceps are bigger than my head, but he can fly as well. He's just an overall great athlete. The pitch swung on and missed. Challenged him with a fastball, and Williams could not catch up to it. So that'll be out number 2. First strikeout for Cabbage and a huge strikeout for Cabbage. And that'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, which is Tucker Bass, the catcher. The beloved athletic director of Florence Post 1 has just told me that according to him, and he is the athletic director, it's Cardinal. Thank you, Mike, for that.
Red, huh?
Yep. Breaking ball. Just a bit far inside. Mike Ritchie, athletic director of Florence Post 1. Great guy. He's been extremely helpful to me, and the fans from Florence were real good to me back in 2021. I tip my cap to you, sir, and thank you for all that you do for Florence and Post 1 and American Legion Baseball, the state of South Carolina. Mike's a good guy. I'll tell you who the other one is, George Rigby. Keith, you and George would get along like peas and carrots. As a matter of fact, I got to make sure you two don't meet each other at all, because you two would have a lot of fun. That pitch called a strike. It's 2-1. George is a barrel of laughs, man. He's a good time. he's
I always love a good time.
2-1. Outside corner at the knees. And Bass is asking if that's a bit low. As a catcher, he's going to want that call for his pitchers as well.
And we've enjoyed having the Florence folks here in Fort Mill. Have all been very nice and enjoyable team to watch.
Pitch, breaking ball, stayed high. It caught the plate but missed high. It's 3-2. And they've come in mass. We expected that. They've also watched in mass on YouTube. We also expected that.
And that's much appreciated.
Yes, it is greatly appreciated. Both folks in the ballpark and those watching across the fruited plains. But it tells you the support of Florence Post 1. And that pitch is low and outside. A great eye by Bass. He checked his swing. Ball 4. It's an RBI. And it's 5-2.
I don't know that I'd have been able to check my swing on that one.
I'd have been swinging for the hills, baby. So give an RBI to Bass. And now Florence has batted around here in the third. I wasn't quite sure if Mr. Ritchie was listening to the broadcast today. I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't think anybody was paying attention. Now, Keith, we might actually have to put some work into this thing.
Might have to tone it down a little bit in here.
The boss man is watching. The 1-0. This is low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Brody Cook.
This is our boss man, but I don't know where he is right now. I haven't seen
Who, our boss man?
Yeah.
Oh, bless his heart. He's probably somewhere. He needs to go somewhere and take a nap.
Is he pacing again?
Oh, he's got to be. He did tell me his steps earlier this morning. That pitch swung on a foul back to the screen. So he's got an Apple Watch like the rest of us yahoos. And of course, it counts his steps. And Keith and I were just playfully saying that he probably got in his 10,000 steps per day. Yeah. How about 24,350? in one day
The Macker's
for
got it
Mac
going on,
Banks. Yes, 24,000 steps.
and it'll be
Man,
more today.
I got a cramp in my leg just hearing that
Yeah,
number.
no doubt. That is a crooked number.
Wow. 2 balls and a strike to Mr. Cook. Pitch on the outside corner.
Actually,
two
be
and
down
two.
about 12 pounds this weekend. All that running around. I'm losing weight just thinking about how many steps he has.
2 and 2. Count to Brody. Yes. You know those marathon stickers were 0.0. That pitch swung on and
Indeed.
missed. And that'll take care of Brody Cook, and it will retire the side. Having more fun than human beings should be allowed, but a very prosperous inning for Florence post one. They score 4 times. They do it on the back of 3 base hits, no errors, and 3 more runners left on. We head to the fourth inning, a change in your scores now. Florence 5 and Queen City 2. You're watching and listening to the 2023 South Carolina versus North Carolina American Legion Challenge here on the We Are Fort Moore Broadcasting Network.
3 hits, North.
We head to inning number 4 here in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Florence 5, Queen City 2. And leading it off for the City Boys from the QC, it's going to be Tyler Nee. He'll be followed by Cam Miller and then Carson Cabbage. 3, 4, and 5 in the order for Queen City. 2 runs, 3 hits. Foul tipped into the glove of the catcher. 1-1 the count. Working quickly is Tanner Hall. Now, the home plate umpire did make a motion that we might have a change in personnel. And we do. And now I understand why he was pointing to the right side of the diamond. So we got a new right fielder. So Josh Williams has been taken down. That pitch is swung on, and just a little duck snort out in the left field. It's going to drop for a base hit. Big turnaround first for Tyler Nee, but he'll throw up the parachute and settle for a single.
Now it looks like KJ Hughes out there
Yes,
in
sir.
right field.
So we hope Josh Williams is okay. KJ Hughes now out in right field for Florence. Here's Cam Miller 0 for 1. He struck out to end the first inning. That'll push Tanner Hall to the stretch. Pitch just a bit off the plate. Cam is about 6'3", 6'4", and about 250 pounds. I walked past him before the game today, and I went, wow.
So a solid individual.
That's an 18-year-old. Not when I was 18. The 2-0, that one's in the dirt. Nice stop by Tucker Bass.
We used to laugh at some of the kids that were in our 13 and 14-year-old travel teams against us, and we figured those were the bus drivers when they were that big
Yeah.
at 13 and 14.
Yeah. I mean, back in our day, students could be the bus driver.
Right.
The 3-0, outside corner, the knees called a strike. Matter of fact, when I was in elementary school, It was one of the high schoolers from Malden High School who went to the tech school during the day. He was our bus driver. 3-1. Swung on and popped up a mile high left field. The left
He's not
fielder
gonna
did
get
not
there.
see it. Cook couldn't find it. Now he finds it, and it actually falls fair by about a foot. That literally just hit the grass and died, literally fair by a foot. Cook went up in the air above the lights, and when Cook looked into the sky, he lost it or couldn't find it at all. So it'll go as a base hit for Miller. So that's a break for Queen City. So first and second, nobody out
Tying run at the plate.
for Cabbage. Pitch that stays high.
And Hall looks like he's releasing a little bit too high when he's coming down the mound, not following all the way through, or as an old coach that I used to coach with says, he's not breaking his back.
And I think he overcompensated there. He fell off a little bit more as he tried to come over that front foot, like you're saying, to try to finish.
He did come around too far to the left.
2-0, high and inside. They're going to throw behind the runner at first, but back safely.
That's a pretty good throw if you
Miller.
think about it. That was an inside pitch. It was high and tight, and he still grabbed it and threw it down to first base.
That pitch right on the inside corner. Strike one to Carson Cabbage. 5-2 is our score. Second game of the day, fourth game of this challenge. The 3-1 swung on and a tapper foul. And the old Ole from Coach McKay in the third base coach's box for the Mustangs.
Carson Cabbage definitely on the all-name team for this North Carolina-South Carolina challenge.
Sir, I like it. The 3-1 swung on and a tapper right back to the pitcher. They're going to go to second, and the ball sails into right center field. Coming home to score will be Tyler Nee. That'll go as an error. It'll go as an E1, and it's 5-3.
And I couldn't understand why he was going over to second base. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense unless he was just disoriented from seeing the runner at third being so far down the line. He just figured this is the only way to go.
And Coach Fita was going to come out and have a chat with his pitcher, and he's none too happy.
You can tell by that march going out to the mound right now.
And I think when he first got the baseball, he looked at third, and I think he realized, I don't have a play. And he realized he had a play at second, and that's going to be the day for Tanner Hall. So when Tanner turned around and went to throw the ball to second, I don't think he really set. His shoulders were not where they were supposed to be.
They were
and he
kind of
just
like
sort of,
this.
Yeah, it was all arm out to second, and that ball just sailed on him. And there's going to be a change on the mound for Florence post one, and the new hurler is going to be number 14. That is Dylan Weigel. And Dylan is out of South Florence High School.
Is it Weigel or Weigel? I was trying to remember the last lineup card.
Yeah, me too. That's a good point. Let me look at the old
Weigel.
card. Is it Weigel? It could be.
That stands out for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
My old mind doesn't work that great anymore.
Well, my mind never worked great, so you got me on that one. Let's see. I did write it down.
Oh, I've got it in my photos. Hold on.
Oh, do you?
Pretty certain. I thought I did.
I think I did say Weigel.
Maybe it was yesterday.
And I was corrected, so it could be.
Yeah, it is Weigel. I see it from yesterday's card.
Yes, yesterday. So it is Weigel. So I apologize to the Weigel family. Dylan will toe the rubber now for Florence post one. I'm glad you did. I appreciate you doing that for sure. And Weigel is a tall, lanky left-hander. He is a tall drink of water, and that's all arms and legs coming at you. The first batter he will face will be Aiden Christmas. So it's first and third for the Mustangs. Nobody out. Back-to-back base hits and an error has already scored a run. And the potential go-ahead run stepped into the batter's box just as the wind picks up, blowing straight in. Pitch, breaking ball right on the outside corner.
That thing had some movement on it.
Yeah, the amount of glove side run on that pitch, that was sick. Man, we've seen some pitching. We've seen some guys that can spin it. Pitch, same spot, same results, 0-2. I'd be a little surprised if this pitch is in the zone.
Be a little surprised if he throws that same pitch again, too.
The 0-2. That one gets by the catcher. It's going to trickle through the 5-hole all the way to the backstop. Coming home to score, run number 4 for the Mustangs will be Cam Miller. That'll go as a wild pitch. Moving up 90 feet as well will be Cabbage.
And you weren't wrong. That thing was way out of the zone. And all of a sudden, you're giving Queen City a little bit of hope after it was starting to look a little bleak there for a while. This comeback shows that they can hang with post one.
Agreed. That all the momentum was with the Cardinal-colored jerseys of Florence post one, but not anymore. That pitch is swung on. It's going to dribble through the hole left side. A late stop sign. So runners at the corners for the Mustangs as they are starting to get all the momentum back in their favor. That'll bring up Brock Fowler. Ball not hit hard at all. But hit them where they ain't.
That's been the key to this inning so far for Queen City. Runners at the corners with nobody out. Things are looking pretty good for the guys in Carolina Blue.
Fowler's 0 for 1 today, but scored a run. And that pitch is swung on and ripped back through the box into center field for a base hit. Coming home to score is Cabbage. We got a brand new ball game. We're tied at 5. And actually the runner was Vanderloo. I think he was a courtesy runner for Cabbage. So Vanderloo will score the 5th run of the day for the Mustangs. And the line continues to move.
And just like that, Queen City is Florencing Florence, which we've seen throughout this entire tournament. They score a lot of runs with nobody out.
That pitch swung on and missed. Home run cut from Jake Reichert.
Florence has been the standard of excellence so far in this tournament, and we've seen a lot of offense from them, but all of a sudden Queen City's found some of their own.
That pitch is going to be put into play. Going to get it as Hunt. Throw to first. Safe. They say off the bag, says the umpire at first base.
And that looked like that was going to be trouble just because there were 3 guys down there and nobody knew who was going to take the ball on that one. And I thought his foot was on the bag, but it must not have been.
I thought that his left leg, he kind of kneeled down a little bit, and I thought his cleat kind of stayed on the pillow, but the umpire down there in perfect spot. He was inside the baseline, staring right at it, exactly where an umpire is supposed to be.
He was on top of it. I'll give him that.
He was. Bases loaded, nobody out. And now Queen City could really change and flip the script on Florence here. Here's Hawkins. And he earned a walk on a 9-pitch plate appearance back in the 3rd. Pitch, front door breaking ball misses, and it's 2-0.
One of the best at-bats we've seen over these 4 games so far. And then just nonchalantly served it into right field for a base hit.
And whether you score that play a hit or an error, it's one that Coach Urquhart would tell you Florence should make. Pitch on the outside corner, 2 balls and a strike.
And we've seen them make a lot of really good defensive plays in these couple of days. So that's kind of a surprising gaffe, if you will.
The 2-1 breaking ball just off the corner. 3 balls and a strike. And now one more outside the zone will give the Mustangs the lead back. And the pitch Swung on and fouled straight back. Hawkins had that one timed pretty well. I think he was looking for it as well. And a payoff pitch due here to Ryan Hawkins. And the pitch inside corner called a strike. Got him. What a pitch.
That was a great pitch.
What a pitch. Wow.
And
right
very
in the
timely.
front door. Yes, sir. First out, back to the top of the order, and Daniel Shuda. Daniel is 0 for 2. The fielder's choice, a strikeout. Pitch. That one's in the dirt. Another nice stop by the catcher, Bass. And you can tell Bass is out of Lakeview High School just from his catcher's gear, the royal blue. I think they're known as the Wild Gators, if I remember correctly, which is highly unlikely. I rarely remember anything. The pitch swung on and missed. And it's 1-1 to count.
Top of the third inning in the College World Series, Stanford and Wake Forest tied at 1.
Yes. Had that chat with my daughter last night. The pitch. I think he went around. He did. The ball hit him, but he went around. That's going to get called a strike. Yep. Yeah, that's going to be a strike. And it's 1-2.
You got to be pulling for Switzerland if you're an ACC fan.
Switzerland. Yes, Mark Packer. Why are they called Switzerland? Because nobody hates them. And when they do well, everybody's like, yay, Wake. The 1-2 inside, that one did hit him. And a hit by pitch gives the Mustangs the lead.
And Wake Forest doesn't take too kindly to the University of North Carolina, but
not really.
UNC people love rooting for Wake Forest.
So give Shuda the painful RBI, and Coach Fidowa, who is back out walking to the mound, and I think he's a little tired of making that stroll, and I think he might be taking the baseball, and he is. So another change on the mound for Florence post 1. This will be their third pitcher of this half inning.
This will be Zane Davis.
So the new pitcher for Florence, thank you, Keith, appreciate that, will be Zane Davis, wearing number 30 today. Zane Davis is out of Chesterfield High School, Chesterfield, South Carolina.
Who's that quarterback for South Carolina that was the head coach down at Chesterfield High School recently? Real crazy guy.
Crazy guy.
Crazy quarter. You know, when you think
you
about
talking,
people like Jim, or
you talking
McMahon.
about Tannehill?
Tannehill, yes, because he was the head coach down there at Chesterfield, I believe, for a while.
When you said crazy, the first two guys that popped in my head was Steve Tannehill or Garcia.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you got it the first time.
And I mean, both guys are characters. Both of them were quarterback for the South Carolina Gamecocks. About a good decade and a half away from each other.
Yep.
And that's the thing, though. People were like, "You're a Clemson grad, and you can talk Gamecock football." Yes, I can. I can talk Wofford football and Furman football, and I can talk Braves baseball, and I can talk College World Series. If it's sports related,
I can talk about it.
I am your phone a friend. If you want to talk about anything else, do not call me, because I will guaranteed give you the wrong answer. Take that to the bank. If the wrong answer is what you're looking for, I am your man. First pitch from Davis just swung on and fouled.
I can give a lot of those. A lot of wrong answers.
I can give a lot of those. Well, I can be wrong. It's almost like that Jeff Foxworthy joke about the repo guy. The 0-1 swung on and missed. Mr. Foxworthy, if you don't have $500 and taking the truck with me, who's got $500? Nobody. Well, can you write me a check? No, I can't. A check? Heck yeah, I can write you a check. The 0-2. That one gets by the catcher. Will the runner try to score? He is. There'll be a play. He is safe. And it's 7-5 Queen City. The other two runners move up 90 feet. The home
Well, I
plate
can bet you
umpire
my check's
will rush
bouncing
off
all
home
the
plate.
way across Fort Mill.
Coming home to score, I believe there was Fowler.
Yes. So how
And
much for the 4 bald tires and a toe? How much you got? No, really, how much does it cost? And I'm asking you how much you got.
the pitch swung on and missed for strike 3. So that'll take care of Browning. So Queen City's batted around here. Here's Tyler Nee, who started it all with a single. Yeah. I like that. No, I can't write you a check. Oh, a check? Yeah, I can write you a check. I thought you needed money. Bang into the stands. Somebody will retrieve that baseball because, well, yeah, the aluminum bleachers, man. I'm real surprised that ball hit the bleachers and died. Normally, it just caroms way up in the air 20, 30 feet. The 0-1. That one bounces away from the catcher, but it bounces up the third base line. That's a break for Florence because that saves another run. Coming into this half inning, your score was 5-2 Florence. It's now 7-5 Queen City. That pitch outside the zone, 2 balls and a strike. The one error, 5 base hits. Pitch swung on, and it's a slow tapper to the shortstop. Nice backhand. Throw across, nice stretch, got him. Nice play defensively, will retire the side, but the damage done by Queen City. They pick up 5 runs, 5 hits, 1 error, 2 left. Boy, howdy, this game changed on a dime. We head to the bottom of inning number 4. Your score is now Queen City 7 and Florence 5. You fine folks are watching and listening to the 2023 American Legion North Carolina versus South Carolina Challenge here on the We Are Fort Mill Broadcasting Network. Jackson Moore will step in to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning here for Florence Post 1. 7-5 is your score. Keith Cook had to go take care of some family stuff, so I'm flying solo now. So I've got to move the scoreboard over towards my facility as well as I try to strap on all the equipment that is part of the gig here at Fort Mill. think we're all right now. That pitch outside the zone. I'm waiting on the home plate umpire to give me the count, and it's 3-1. 7-5 our score. It'll be Jackson Moore, Shamar Symes, Zach Hunt. Pitch outside the zone, ball 4. So a leadoff walk is how this half inning will start. And here comes the four. No, it's not. It's going to be number 1, and that's going to be Kason Herlong. So here's Herlong. He's going to square around the bunt. He's going to bunt it first base side, but foul. As he kind of jumps in the air a little bit. Symes started the game. Ground out. Actually, 2 ground outs. Pretty sure that's the mom down there. Going to square around a bunt and somehow gets the bat to it. How, I don't know. It'll go as a sacrifice. The sacrifice will go 1-3. That pitch was high and way outside the zone, but somehow Herlong was able to get the bunt down. So runner to second for Zach Hunt. Zach so far today is 2 for 2. Single and a double. Couple of run scores with an RBI. Pitch from Cabbage. Swung on and missed. Huge cut by Hunt. Pitch swung on and hit high in the air, left field. Looks like it'll be a can of corn out there for left fielder Trig Browning, and it will be. That'll be squeezed for out number 2. Here's Nick Foster. So the runner out at second base is Moore. 7-5 the score. Bottom of the 4th. Pitch from Cabbage. Breaking ball stays high the entire way. Nick so far today has been hit by a pitch and walked. He has scored a run for Florence. The 1-0 swung on and missed. They're going to throw behind the runner out at second base, but very heads-up play there by the second baseman for the Mustangs. Heads-up play there by Hawkins because that ball sailed on the catcher. And that saved 90 feet because if that sails into right center field, heck, with the wheels that Jackson Moore has, he could have come home to score. And pitch. This one is swung on. It hit a mile high right side. Will it stay in play? First baseman over near the fence runs out of real estate as it will literally fall about 3 feet over the fence. There's a little grass area down there. A couple of Florence parents were over there with their beautiful a little chocolate lab, little baby lab, just beautiful little dog down there. They had it made. They had their beach chair set up with the beach umbrella. Those people were what they call experienced. They knew what they were doing. They came to the ballpark ready to go. Taking it easy in the shade. The pitch swung on and missed. And that'll retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left. We head to the 5th inning. Still 7-5 Mustangs. Cam Miller will start it off for the Mustangs of Queen City here in the top of inning number 5. 7-5 the score. Mustangs with a 2-run lead. That pitch is swung on and fell back to the screen. Cam so far today, 1 for 2. A single with a run scored. Struck out to end the first. In a game that Florence at one point in time led 5-2, it's now 7-5 Mustangs. But this story is a long way from being written. That breaking ball right in the front door. Very quickly, no balls and 2 strikes to Cam Miller. It'll be Cam, then Carson, then Aiden. That pitch is swung on, and it's going to be tapped through the left side base hit. Wow, not hit particularly hard, but right in a perfect spot for Cam Miller, and he leads off the 5th inning with a base knock. So here's Cabbage. Carson, that is the pitch. High and outside for ball 1. So Insurance stands at first base for Queen City. Pitch high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Zane Davis on the mound now for Florence. The day started with Tanner Hall, then went to Weagle, and now it's Zane Davis's turn. The 2-0 swung on and roped. Deep left field. I don't know if the ballpark's going to hold it. It bangs off the top of the wall. It'll be a double. Striding on into second base or into third base. There's a close play at second. He's out. Oh, what a throw by the left fielder, Brody Cook. I thought it was a surefire double, but no. Banged out at second base. It'll go as a single, and then it'll go as a put out. It'll go 7-4 on the put out. Runner at third, and the next batter is going to be number 7, Aiden Christmas. That ball was crushed. I really didn't think the yard was going to hold it, but it did. It banged off the top of the wall, another 2 feet. That had been out of here. Pitch swung on a foul out of play right side. Just another hustle play. One hustle play getting the better of another one, really, as Queen City trying to make that a second and third situation and nobody out. The 0-1 inside, but just a little too far inside. 1-1 is your count. And now Florence is going to go to what's called a zero defense. They're going to go to all 4 infielders on the lip of the grass. And now time is called. It's going to be an offensive timeout for Queen City. The runner at third is Miller. And now Coach Vidawa is going to have a conversation with his catcher. And now the conversation is going to go to the home plate umpire, and I think they're going to make a change, and I think that's why he was walking the home plate umpire. It might be a medical visit, though. Because a lot of times when a coach goes right to the umpire like that, it's either a change or it's a medical visit because they saw something they don't like. And this is, unfortunately, a medical visit because the first thing they did was look at Zane Davis and kind of look at his upper body. So that is not what you want to see. Don't care who you're pulling for. You don't want to see a youngster get hurt. And that's going to be the day for Zane Davis. He will exit the game. You don't normally see a pitcher get pulled in the middle of a count like that, but unfortunately, this is a situation where you got to make that call. So we'll have a new pitcher here for Florence. And trying to catch the number of the youngster jogging in. Turn around, young man. I can't see. The new pitcher for Florence is going to be number 8, and that is Mac Fail. So the fourth pitcher of the afternoon for Florence Post 1. Here in the top of the fifth inning from Fort Mill, South Carolina, the 2023 American Legion South Carolina versus North Carolina Challenge. The day started with Tanner Hall. And now it's Mac Fales' turn. Mac out of Trinity Collegiate, Florence, South Carolina, his hometown. As we play ball here in the top of inning number 5. On a very warm afternoon here in Fort Mill. The first pitch of the first game today was at 11:03 a.m. and your temperature was 77 degrees. It was a gorgeous morning. Not a cloud in the sky, but it has warmed up and warmed up quickly. The home plate umpire will say 2 more. It's now 83 degrees here in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Last year, the tournament was held in Cherryville. And now stepping back in the box will be Aiden Christmas. So a runner is at third. That's Cam Miller. A 1-1 count on Christmas. There's 1 out. Pitch, high and inside. Bail out of the stretch with the runner at third. That pitch, breaking ball right in the front door. And that'll make the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Beg your pardon? Still trying to get used to being by myself. It's because I was doing 2 people's jobs. Now it's 3 or 4. But that's okay. We'll make it work. That pitch is swung on and fouled out of play. Not complaining. Got to do what you got to do. Just letting everybody know. Be a little patient with me. Because I'm running YouTube. I'm also running the PA system, playing music, and the scoreboard. I'm trying to keep the scorebook at the same time. I wouldn't recommend it. This is why I'm not the brightest of folk. Pitch. Oh, boy, just a bit outside. Good eye there from Christmas. Fastball just off the corner. That'll lob up 3-2. Florence still in that 0 defense. All 4 infielders on the lip of the grass. The pitch, breaking ball, too far inside, ball 4. So it's a walk to Christmas, but it puts the double play back in order if you're a Florence fan. And the inning will continue for Brock Fowler. So here is Fowler, who is 1 for 2 today. That pitch is a breaking ball, low and away. Brock grounded out to second base in the second inning, but that scored a run. He singled and scored a run. He's got 2 RBIs. Thanks to his 4th inning work, that pitch swung on and missed. And boy, howdy, he was trying to send that boy back to Uptown. Downtown Charlotte is not called downtown, it's called Uptown. Pitch swung on and hit a mile high, left side, coming over near the fence. Does he have a play? Dives over the fence. Did he make the catch? I don't think he did. Great effort right there, and a huge round of applause, and rightfully so, for Nick Foster, who goes all Spider-Man to try to get over the fence. I'll give him an A for effort. I think he literally flipped over the fence. I think he landed on the other side of the fence down there behind the third base dugout, and he just hops right back up. No big deal. The 1-2, runner takes off for second. The pitch is swung on and missed. The throw down, not in time. So it'll be a strikeout. So that'll be out number 2, but now runners at second and third. And the next batter will be Jake Reichert. So a stolen base for Christmas and a strikeout of Fowler. Pitch to Reichert, swung on and a slow roller right to the shortstop. He'll double clutch, throw to first in time. That retires the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on. We have the bottom of inning number 5. Queen City leads it 7-5. So here's Jamarcus Williams to start off the bottom of the 5th inning. We had to take a little extra second there. The catcher for Queen City went to throw down to second base and slipped in the right-handed batter's box, and I think he's still smarting from that. So here's Jamarcus. The single in the second, that scored a run. Hit by a pitch in the third. Breaking ball stays high. Starting pitcher today for Queen City was Jake Young, and then Maddox Cabbage came in, and it's still Cabbage. That pitch is swung on and drilled in the center field, but he hit it to the wrong part of the park, and that'll be caught right at the warning track, the edge of the warning track for out number 1. And that'll bring up number 4, which is Colin Minshew. Pitch to Colin, swung on and hit right over my head and out of play, foul. Center field is not where you want to hit a baseball. Here at Fort Mill High School, 383 to dead center. It's 365 to the light poles, 345 to the power alleys. That'll give you an idea just how narrow it is out there. That pitch outside the zone with a breaking ball, 1-1 is the count. If you hit it between those light poles, you better hit the living dog out of it to get it out of here, especially on a day like today where the wind's blowing in a little bit. Makes it that much harder. The 1-1, breaking ball nowhere near. You want to send one out of here, and we've seen some balls fly out of this yard this week. boy howdy have we. You want to do that, you got to hit it towards the light foul pole, the light pole, I should say, in left field, dead on left field, or aim for the scoreboard. Anywhere from the scoreboard towards the foul pole, the ball will fly out of here. But it is a 12-foot fence, so that big blue tarp or windscreen that you see, that is not a mirage. That is a tall fence. The pitch swung on and a rifle shot into left center field, but the center fielder will gallop into the gap and he'll run it down for out number 2. That'll bring up KJ. Both putouts here in the bottom of inning number 5 have been by the center fielder, Shuda. On a miss by KJ. KJ Hughes out of Marion, South Carolina. Pitch, breaking ball, just a bit too far inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to KJ. Nobody on, 2 outs. The pitch swung on and hit high in the air, deep right center field. Shuda on the run near the wall will run it down, and he records all 3 outs here in the bottom of inning number 5. Florence goes 1, 2, 3. We head to the 6th inning. Queen City 7, Florence 5. We are headed to the 6th inning. It's getting late early, as Yogi Berra famously once said. 7-5 is the score, as South Carolina's perfect record in this challenge is in peril. Pitcher on the mound for Florence is still Mac Phail. Due up here for Queen City, it's going to be the 9, I believe it's going to be 9, 1, and 2. That's Hawkins, Shuda, and Browning. So it will be Hawkins, Shuda, and Browning. For the Mustangs, wearing the Carolina blue jerseys, the Cardinal of Florence. That pitch is swung on and just a little Ric Flair. That under right center field. Hawkins is on base for the 2nd time. Back to the top of the order and Shuda. Mr. Shuda is 0 for 2 today, but been hit by a pitch. Believe it or not, that actually scored a run. Pitch to him, and that's a foul ball. He went to check his swing, and it just kissed off the barrel a little bit. The ball's going to strike to Daniel. Queen City looking for some insurance runs. Florence post 1 trying to keep Queen City right where they're at. Here's a throw over to first from Mac Phail. Mack out of the stretch. The pitch swung on and hit a high fly ball. KJ Hughes ranging over into foul territory, still ranging, and he drops it. It kissed off the heel of the glove right as he got near the tarp, right on the edge of the warning track, just as it starts to kind of peel in, the fence does, as it gets towards the outfield fence, about 30 feet short of the fence. It starts to curl in because on the other side of that fence is nothing but a bunch of trees, and it's a sharp drop-off. I mean a sharp drop-off. So you swing on the house here for Daniel Shuda because KJ Hughes inches away from making that play. Can Queen City make Florence pay? As the wind has changed directions, the pitch swung on and ripped through the whole left side, and they will. A base hit for Daniel Shuda. So back-to-back base knocks here for Queen City. First and second, nobody out for Browning. Queen City is starting to rough up Mr. Fail out there. First and second, nobody out. Squares around to bunt, pulls the bat back at a pitch low and outside. Nice stop by Tucker Bass. Good man out of Lakeview. One ball and no strikes to Browning, who has struck out twice, singled, and scored. Pitch going to square around a bunt and pops it up, but it will go over towards the batting circle, first base side, where Florence Post 1 is. All the teams from South Carolina will be in the first base dugout in this challenge. Obviously, that puts the boys from the Old North State in the third base dugout. As you heard Keith say earlier in the broadcast, the College World Series is going on at the moment. The 1-1 swung on and a ground ball to the shortstop. Could be two. Goes to second for one. Relay to first. Not in time. Thought it had a chance to be two, but then it kind of just ricocheted off the grass a little bit, slowed it down. So runners at the corners now, and the next batter is Need. So runners at first and third, but only one out for Tyler. Pitch. Runner takes off for second. The throw down is going to be off the glove of the second baseman. Coming home to score will be Hawkins. And it's 8-5. So runner at second, one down. Pitch, called a strike. One of the umpires looked at me and said, "There's no outs." No, actually there is. It's a single, a fielder's choice, and then an error. The 0-2 swung on and just trickled foul. The error that allowed Hawkins to score. I think you got to give it as an E2. I mean, you could make an argument the second baseman should come down with that, but he had to go all Spider-Man to try to rip it out of the air. The 0-2 in the dirt. Nice stop by Bass. I ain't going to lie to you fine folks. After the 2 ball games last night and the one earlier today, I'm starting to, like the Jackson Brown song says, I'm a little running on empty up here. I ain't going to lie to you. Pitch. Swung on and popped up a mile high. Shallow right field. Oncoming KJ. He will make the catch for out number 2. Runner stays at second base. The next batter will be Cam Miller. runner out at second base is Daniel Shuda. The pitch from Fail to Cam Miller. Here it comes. Pitch stays high. It's now 8-5, Queen City, as we play ball here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Beg your pardon, top of the sixth inning. Boy, we have pitch, breaking ball, takes a bite out of Bass. Trying to figure out how to get vitamin B12 into the system a lot quicker than taking a supplement. Trying to figure it out. Pitch swung on and hit high in the air, not hit very deep. KJ over near the fence, and that one will go into the trees and down that sharp, just steep drop off. Folks, when you look at this stadium, if you're looking on YouTube and you see that tree line, as you get to the foul pole in right field, there's a chain link fence. And as you go over that chain link fence, it's only about 10 feet, literally 10 feet, and it drops off 30 feet down. The pitch down in the dirt, 3-1 to count to Cam Miller. I kid you not. So if a ball goes into those trees, you ain't getting it. Because by the time you go get that baseball, you're going to get bitten by a snake and have poison ivy. The pitch misses low and outside, and it's ball 4. So a 2-out free pass to Cam Miller. The line keeps on moving for Carson Cabbage. So this half inning started with back-to-back base hits. Fielder's choice, a fly out to right, now a walk. It's first and second. A run in here for Queen City. 8-5 is the score. Pitch swung on and a worm burner to the shortstop. He'll go the short way to second, and that'll retire the side. A run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on. We have the bottom of the sixth inning. 8-5 is the score. Welcome back, everybody, to the 2023 American Legion North Carolina South Carolina Challenge. First pitch here in the bottom of the sixth is swung on a miss by the catcher, Tucker Bass. Then we'll go back to the top of the order, Brody Cook, Jackson Moore. The 0-1. That one outside the zone. Cabbage is still out on the mound for Queen City. Jake Young started the day, made it to the third, and that's when Cabbage took over. The pitch swung on and missed. Breaking ball, and it had Bass fooled a little bit there. A ball and 2 strikes. Bass so far today grounded into a double play that ended the second. He walked in the third that walked in a run. The pitch swung on and missed. 1 up and 1 down here for Florence. Back to the top of the order in the aforementioned Brody Cook. Brody so far today for Florence Post 1 down in the book, and I missed his at bat in the fourth, but I think he's 2 for 3, I believe. First pitch to him, breaking ball called a strike at the top of the zone. No balls and a strike to Brody. He did have a heck of a defensive play earlier in this game. Turned what could have been a double into just a single as he gunned down a base runner for the Mustangs. You wonder how big that play is now in a 3-run game. Pitch swung on and missed. Home run cut. And it's 1-2 to Brody Cook. Because Florence technically down to final basically 5 outs. But as we've seen in this challenge so far, 5 outs can be a challenge against a team like Florence. That pitch outside the zone, 2-2. But having said that, the thing about it is 5 runs on the board for Florence Post 1, but all that damage in the first 3 innings. Pitch in the dirt. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Brody Cook. Nobody owned, 1 out. 8-5 the score. In fact, according to my book, Florence has only reached base 1 time, and that pitch is swung on and missed. That'll take care of Brody Cook. 2 down for Jackson Moore. So here's Jackson Moore, who's walked twice. Pitch in there for a strike. Struck out in the first, walked in the third, walked in the fourth. The 0-1 from Cabbage. That one stays outside the zone. That'll even the count at a ball and a strike. Here in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Game number 2 of 4. The 1-1. Fisted high in the air. Shallow left field. Going back to shortstop, who will range over and make the catch. Nice play by Aiden Christmas. And that retires the side. 1-2-3 goes Florence. We head to the 7th inning. Queen City leads it 8-5. We headed, good lord. We head to the seventh inning. Aiden Christmas will start it off for the Mustangs of Queen City. New pitcher on the mound for Florence is left-hander, number 19, Noah Cribb. Noah out of Lakeview High School, Marion, South Carolina. Pitch swung on and popped up a mile high, right side of the infield. Who wants it? The first baseman, Hunt, says he's got it, and he does, and he'll squeeze it for out number one. And that'll take us to Brock Fowler. So Noah Cribb gets the first batter he faces. Short order, that pitch slider off the inside corner for ball one. Queen City looking to add on. Florence trying to keep the Mustangs right where they're at. That pitch is swung on, a slow roller deep in the hole. It's short. Going to be a tough play, and it's made. Boy, howdy, what a play by the shortstop. Colin Minshew. Dun-na-na, dun-na-na. 2 up and 2 down for the Mustangs. And the next batter is Reichert. That's the old Derek Jeter deep in the hole and just jump in the air and throw it to first. And a great job of digging it out by Hunt. Pitch off the corner, 1-0 is the count. As the smoke continues to billow from the grill down below us here. Pitch swung on and ripped back in the box into center field for a base hit. Reichert sends it right back where it came from. So a 2-out base runner here for the Mustangs. That'll bring up Hawkins. First pitch outside the zone to the 9-hole hitter Hawkins. Sorry about that. I had to close the window because the press box was starting to fill up with smoke from the grill down below. The 1-0 swung on and a little pop out in the center field, but ranging over into the gap and making the catch is Williams, and that'll retire the side. No runs a hit, no errors. 1 land left on base. Last chance saloon for Florence. We have the bottom of the 7th inning. Queen City leads it 8-5. Into the bottom of the seventh inning. And due up here first for Florence Post 1, it'll be number 1, Kason Herlong. 3, 4, and 5 in the order for Derek Urquhart and Florence Post 1. The Hunt and then Foster is in the hole. Pitch from Vanderloo. The pitch is swung on and popped up right side. Who wants it? First baseman gets called off by the second baseman, which is Hawkins, who will squeeze it and very quickly 1 out. And that'll bring up Zach Hunt. So here is Hunt. 2 for 3 today. That pitch swung on and it's popped up right side. I think it too will stay in play. First baseman over in foul territory. And just like that, there are 2 down. And the final hope for Florence is going to be number 25, Nick Foster. So 2 down, bases empty. First pitch called a strike to Nick Foster. Hit by a pitch, walk, struck out. And the pitch, breaking ball, stayed low the entire time. A ball and a strike. Already 2 down. We're only 4 pitches into the bottom of the 7th. The pitch comes inside and almost hits him in the belly. We're going to count to 2 balls and a strike. The next game up will be Rock Hill against Cherryville. 2-1. That one did come inside and hit it. So a 2-out base runner. So there's still life for Florence. The next batter is Jamarcus Williams. So after getting 2 quick outs, hit by pitch to Foster. First pitch to Jamarcus is low and outside for ball 1. Jamarcus today is single in the second, hit by a pitch in the third, flew out to center field in the 5th. And the 1-0 from Vanderloo. Here it comes. Swung on and missed. A ball and a strike to Jamarcus Williams. Runner first, 2 down. Queen City up by 3. Pitch from Vanderloo. Breaking ball. And he never got quite on top of it. Stayed high the entire time. 2 balls and a strike. There's a throw over to first base. I think that just gave Vanderloo a little bit longer to think about what he wants to throw. Jamarcus Williams here. The thing about Jamarcus is he's got that open stance, but as soon as the ball's delivered, he closes it up. That pitch right down Tom Hall Street for strike 2, and now Florence down to its final strike. Vanderloo comes to the belt. The 2-2. Did he go around? They appeal. No swing, says the umpire at first base. The Queen City fans strenuously object. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. So a payoff pitch due here to Jamarcus Williams. Queen City trying to get this final out. Florence trying to get more base runners. Payoff pitch swung on and fisted foul down the right field line. And it'll stay 3 balls and 2 strikes. Another payoff pitch due here to the center fielder, Jamarcus Williams. Here it comes. Swung on and missed, and that's the ball game. Back with the totals after this. The final score is Queen City 8, Florence 5. Back in a moment. So your final score, Queen City 8 and Florence 5. So it's North Carolina's first victory in this challenge. South Carolina now, their lead is down to 3-1, and that is only the second loss, I believe, suffered by Florence this entire season. And not one that Coach Urquhart will be very happy about. But if you're the head coach, if you're Coach McKay of Queen City, you're thrilled to death because this was a game that Florence led 5-2 early on, and it was looking like it was going to be Florence's day. But Queen City, with that one inning, and that one inning came in inning number 4, and that was the 5 spot on 5 base hits. There was the error, and your final score is 8-5. So the next game up is Rock Hill, and they will take on Cherryville. There will be no stream, no broadcast for that game. And so I appreciate everybody tuning in today, wherever you may be across the fruited plains. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast, no matter who you're pulling for. Thank you so much for your support of American Legion Baseball and these fine young men and these wonderful programs. And I really appreciate all the support from both North and South Carolina. So we're going to take a break. We're going to play this Rock Hill versus Cherryville game. The nightcap will be Fort Mill, and they will take on Davidson County. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Keith Cook, I'm John Turner. On behalf of our athletic director, Mac Banks, senior head coach, Tom Scola, we will see you crazy kids down the road. And until then, so long, everybody.